guys, what's going on? This is Matt here, and welcome back to the Black Ops 3 Mod Tools tutorial series. That is really hard to say that. Even though I've literally done all these tutorials up to now all in the same day. It's still really hard to say. Right, so then, in this video we will be making a breakable glass window over here. So in the last one, we made this doorway with a bit of detail around it. I just copied it and pasted that over, really quite quickly, off camera. So now we're making a window with a bit of breakable glass in. So first of all, we need to actually get the window. Now I did have quite a bit of a problem finding a window that fit this style, so I did this off camera and I came up with this one. All I searched was window and I had to scroll for a little bit of time. So I'm just going to left click and drag that into the map, go back into my 2D grid view and just align that to where we want it. I'm going to just snap it to grid just because I was in a really low grid to begin with. I'm going to get this nice and centered in there first of all, and then also go into this view and get this also nice and centered the best we can. So I need to go into a lower grid view yet again. That should be centered there. Lovely, perfect. Now I need to resize these walls. Now I'm going to purposely leave a one unit around the entire thing. You'll see why I'm doing that in a second though. It is for a reason. So just leaving one unit all the way around the entire thing. As such. Lovely. So now we've got one unit around the entire thing. Now I'm going to put a bit of trim around there. Now usually, if the window was the same sort of width, or sorry, the same thickness even as the actual wall, I wouldn't do this because typically the models themselves have a bit of trim around them. In this case, because it's quite a thin window, I'm not doing. I'm going to make my own trim around it just to fit with the wall, because you can see it doesn't actually fill up the entire thing. So all I'm going to do is really simply just draw out 4 brushes as such. I'm going to make them very, very slightly overhang, only very slightly though. I'm going to do this for every single side of this. As such. And we'll go through each corner and just cut them. Do you notice I do this for literally every single join of a brush? I never used to do it, but ever since I've learned to kind of just do it, I don't know, it feels weird not to. It wasn't even me, I can't even remember who told me to do it, but I was speaking to a mapper, it was a fair few years ago now, and they said to me, you know, it's good practice to be doing this. I was like, oh right, okay. So now I can't stop doing it. Right, so textures. Let's texture this in a color texture. Just make sure it's all nice and refreshed. Now I'm going to select all the sides that are vertical at the moment, because we're going to do a vertical texturing. Like this, we're going to get the termite trim and we'll go to Surface Inspector and fit that horizontally. So exactly what it should be. Select the bottom and also the top as such. See what that looks like there. So rotate this. See it looks like there, and now we can horizontally fit that, and it's looking like a window now. That looks as you'd expect. Now for the breakable glass part. So I did have to have a bit of a look into this because I completely forgot how to do it. So over on the entity browser, just search for the term glass, and under unsorted you'll see glass T7 clear. So all we're doing is we're going to drag, make sure I'm in grid 4 actually. Going to drag that into our map, left click drag, and you see it looks a bit weird. It doesn't look very glass-like, it looks like just a brush, and it effectively is. But you can see if I deselect it over here, it's red. It's clearly not a normal brush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically scale this to each window. The reason I'm going to do it to each individual part of the window and not the entire thing all in one is because if someone breaks a pane down here, typically you wouldn't expect the entire thing to break. You don't expect this bit to break. So I'm going to treat them all as separate pieces of glass for this one reason. So I'm going to go into a grid 5, so 0.5, and I'm just going to make it overlap it very, very slightly. Not very much, just enough. Basically just to rule out the potential of any gaps. That's all really. I'm going to make it nice and thin. You can see that now fits where it should do. So literally just creating glass. Go copy and paste this up and up here. It's already in there, so that's fine. I'm happy with that. It overlaps perfectly fine. There we go. Now I'm going to select them all, give them all a cork texture. Now let's go and find some glass texture. So that's models, that's not the right one. Glass, and we'll see what we've got. I'm looking for some sort of cracked, bloody glass. I feel like that would make it look really quite cool. Let's see what we've got going. Let's move the mic a little bit as well. There we go. Glass, oh, there we go. Glass cracked, bloody. So let's select all the faces of this, and on the outside, because you know we will be looking, you know, we will eventually move to like an outdoor area, which will be mapping the outdoors. We will be covering everything. See what each of them look like. I'm gonna give it that one. Okay, so I've got that. Now this is all very well and cool, fitting it like this, but it wouldn't be correct throughout the entire thing. So I'm going to go to Surface Inspector. See, it's not quite looking the way it is. I'm going to fit it on both. Okay, just like that. Is that even going to work? Let's not do that actually. Let's leave it as it is. Usually I'd fit it on both, and then individual glass panes, I'd slightly rotate them just to give it a bit of variation, but because it's so small to begin with, I don't think it's going to look particularly good. So we'll just fit it like that, okay? Got a big crack in there. Cool, yeah, sure. So now these will break when you go into game. When you go up to them and shoot them, they will break and they'll shatter, and you know, leave a few shards around the edges. If you didn't do them all in individual panes, they'd shatter and you'd leave shards around here, and it wouldn't look very realistic, to be honest with you. So next, what we're going to need to do is, of course, add a clip, because right now all we've got that's solid are these parts. Okay, I'm not too sure the glass itself is solid, but obviously once you break it, it won't be solid, and the model itself definitely isn't. So we need to somehow make this part of the wall here solid. So I'm going to go into here. I'm going to just draw a brush. I'm also going to encapsulate the trim as well, because I'm treating it all as one thing, like that. And we'll go to textures, all in use, take out the filter, and give it a clip texture, just as easy as that. Next, we're going to now prefab this, because you know we need to get into the part of prefabbing. Now, what you could do is you could go all throughout the entire thing and select everything individually. A little neat trick that I know. If you put a brush over it, make sure you encapsulate everything. You can right click and select inside. That's going to select everything within that brush. Quite a nice trick there. So now I can right click, go down to prefab and save selected as new prefab. So I just quickly pause the video there for a second. So we go to prefabs, we're going to go over to the ZM Ritual, and I'm going to make a new folder now called Windows. Okay, we're going to dump it into there. So let's do window tool breakable. That pretty much describes it. I know there are obviously, you know, probably wider ones we will be using, maybe, probably not, but you know, you could do. So window tool and of course breakable. So save that in there. That's now a prefab. So now we can quite simply copy this over. Actually, no, we can't. We need to center it first. I almost forgot. So prefab, enter prefab. Select I to select everything, and we'll center it as such. You can of course center it like this, so 0 is actually the ground. Completely up to you. I'm going to center it as it is here, just because. Do I want to do that? no, let's center it so the ground is actually the ground. I feel like it'll make my life a bit easier later down the line. So center it like that. Okay. Left click, prefab, leave prefab, save yes. It's now going to be in the center somewhere. And we'll just drag and drop that over. So now we can do pretty much the same thing. We can do this, we can drag it over. It's already set up, so all we need to do now is quite simply modify the surrounding walls, which is as easy as just doing that. Now you can see we just created another window there. So that's how to create windows, guys. There's obviously there's multiple ways you can combine more than one module. You can mess about with it, but that's the general overview of how to create a breakable window. Of course, the breakable glass part probably being the most important part, really. Of course, if you don't want breakable glass, you can simply just put a brush in there and give it a glass texture. It doesn't have to be breakable. You can just put a normal brush in there, but when you shoot it, it will just be solid. It won't actually do anything. So then, thanks for watching this. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. Next video, I'm going to be going over reflection probes. We'll kind of be not moving away from mapping, but we'll be slightly moving more away from the geometry part, and we're going more into the actual playable of the like the playable sort of features of the map. And then of course we'll be returning back to the actual mapping part. I just want to give you guys a bit of a preview of what it actually looks like in game as fast as we can. So yeah, the next one we'll be looking at reflection probes, and then we'll be going into a bit of lighting. Pretty basic lighting, but I think it's pretty needed. So yeah, thanks for watching again, and I'll see you guys in the next video.